So we went and looked at all of our quarterback drills, and we said, all right, what are we doing? What's working? And the thing we noticed initially with over half of our quarterback drills was they happened from the pocket. And they were based on just kind of pure, kind of normal, like we would all love to script it up, pocket throws, okay? Well, what had changed in those years since was a couple of things. One, okay, is how these kids are brought up, okay, with quarterback coaches, with 7-on-7s. Guys just simply come out throwing the ball much more than they ever have at all the different levels, working their way up. We're going up and down here a little bit, okay? And so what we said was, all right, if that is happening, these guys are getting a lot more throws from the pocket at an earlier age. They're getting all these 7-on-7 throws. They're getting all these throws with their quarterback guy or with their coach, more guys specializing in one sport, all that. All right, so let's create a drill package that attacks maybe what they're not getting enough of. Like for me, I get sick of 7-on-7. Like 7-on-7 drives me crazy. I mean, to me, we used to, back in the day at Texas Tech, man, we would do 7-on-7 for 40, 45 minutes straight. And now at Oklahoma, we probably do 7-on-7 5-6 minutes a day, and that's it. And we don't even do it every day because to me, in the game, this day and age, with all the play action, all the movements, quarterbacks having to move around, RPOs, all that good stuff, to me, 7-on-7, there's a place for it, but I don't know that it really applies. And to me, sometimes it can teach some bad habits too, especially from the quarterback position. So back on our drills, we said, all right, we're going to revamp our drills. And we made everything movement-based and made everything trying to make the quarterback uncomfortable. The thought process being, these guys grow up getting enough comfortable throws. Just standing there, throwing from the pocket, 7-on-7, no rush, this and that. They get plenty of that, okay, from our perspective. So we got to give them more throws that are game-like, more movements, put them in more uncomfortable positions that are game-like so that we are actually getting something out of this. I saw a deal the other day, right after the Super Bowl, Dante Scarnecchia, the O-line coach for the Patriots, a great line. He said, if you don't see the drills you're doing showing up on tape and helping your team win, you're doing the wrong drills. I mean, what a great quote. And it's exactly right. So I think, we all got to constantly, reassess what we're doing, making sure it's applying to the schemes we're putting out there, make sure it's applying to the game, and it's actually, there is a clear point that it is helping our guys, and our players see that too. Just a couple of drills. So I'm going to kind of show you kind of a progression of our drills. So we're going to kind of start here with the most simple of our base drills, and then I'll move into some that have a little bit more to them. This is our big movement drill. Pretty base stuff here. For us, here's a couple of key coaching points. Big thing for us is when we want to get the quarterbacks back to balance after some type of sudden movement. So the whole deal here is everybody in the world does the shuffle drill, right? We move them, this and that. That's all well and good, and it's kind of comfortable and easy for quarterbacks as they get going. I'm not saying there's not a place for it. This is different, though. This is simulating not the soft slide in the pocket. This is simulating my guard just got beat right down the A-gap. Or this is simulating that the edge just got beat right now and a simple shuffle or sliding in the pocket will not do. Like this is all hell is broken loose type of a drill. And so we're looking for a couple things. Again, keeping the quarterback's eyes, lower body in tandem, fast, erratic decisions, which is maybe one of my favorite parts of it. And so here's just kind of a base look at it. So you can see the coach in the middle. So what we do initially, okay, is we give him just a nice smooth shuffle in the pocket. So whatever drop, whatever play action look we want to do it off of, you'll see the first command I give them, just one certain command, is just, hey, I just want a soft, okay, just smooth shuffle in the pocket. And then when you see the hands kind of violently go up with two hands right there, what I'm communicating to the quarterback is, hey, we have something that has busted through the line of scrimmage. You got to go now. This soft shuffle that's all nice and pretty is out of it. This thing is a sprint, okay, to avoid trouble. And then as we bring him down, Okay, we're going to try to come to balance, reset, and then make a throw. So you see just a couple of quick looks at this for us. And again, this is so much different than a normal shuffle for our guys because it's simulating something uncomfortable, something unexpected has happened, and how are we going to handle it mentally? How are we going to handle it fundamentally? So look here with two of them, simulating here a pressure right up the A gap. Okay, I've got to back out of it. This is one of the toughest ones for our guys where they've got to slow down, okay, come to balance, get on top of the throw, and finish. So you see just a couple of looks at this here, okay? Probably our most base simulation or base movement drill that we have. Our next one here, and again, all of these are going to be something has happened unexpected. How do you handle it as a quarterback? Are you prepared? Do you panic? Do you handle it well physically? Do you handle it well mentally? The John Wayne drill, okay? One of the hardest things we all battle with is, how much do you hit your quarterback, right? Same old question in our mind, all right? If our quarterback's getting hit in practice, if he gets hurt, we all feel like a dumbass, all right? If we get out in a game and he's a little gun shy or doesn't want to trigger or doesn't know how to stay into a throw taking a hit, then we're like, well, hell, we didn't, how was he supposed to do it? We never practice it. So there's always kind of that give and take of, all right, how could we maybe simulate it but maybe keep him healthy too? So this is, we got a couple of these on here, but this is one that's kind of our favorite. The John Wayne is just kind of a pure toughness drill for us and something we talk about kind of all the time. Our guys always kind of refer to it as a John Wayne finish. When we pull up a game on Sunday and we're watching, and our guy takes a shot, and he'll say, Kyler will say, hey man, that's John Wayne right there, coach. I mean, it kind of becomes a point of pride. Solid base, okay. You see lower body, upper body, eyes down the field while being pressured, which I think is a huge one. I mean, even for guys at the college level, but certainly I think as you're a young quarterback building up, that's a great skill to be able to teach. Obviously the pocket presence, the ball security, and then most importantly for me, and when I talk about guys taking a hit, the whole deal that I always put it to them is you have to commit to the throw. You have to finish the throw. I always tell them, guys, you're going to get the shit knocked out of you no matter what. It's going to feel a lot better if we complete it. All right, so, I mean, it's going to happen, okay? So you got to understand, and you got to have the courage and the trust to finish the throw, and I think that's got to be drilled. I mean, I think, yeah, well, it's great to get the one tough guy that, the Baker Mayfield that doesn't care and wants to go run over the linebacker the next play, but the reality is we ain't all going to have that guy with that mentality that was born with that all the time. And so, you've got to be able to teach guys, you've got to be able to get them used to feeling that contact, feeling a little uncomfortable, not the 7-on-7 nice and pretty easy world where nobody's rushing me. Make me feel a little uncomfortable and get used to that and be able to handle it and develop the confidence to handle it. So how we set up this drill is I use a pop-up. And I've got a couple of kind of different key spots that I like to get to try to make these guys uncomfortable. So first thing with the pop-up that you see is I want to close down the space. I want them to feel like that pocket is closing down on them. So I'm not going to give them a lot of air, okay? So you can see, okay, pop-up right there. And what I'm simulating here for him, okay, is finishing a throw and taking a little bit of a shot, okay, right into that. I'm not trying to cream them with it, okay? That's not the deal, especially when I'm dealing with anything that involves a throwing arm, okay? I'm gonna be smart about that. But at the same time, I want them to feel like I'm having to finish this throw with somebody in my lap, okay? Within this, we will also create decision making. We do that with all of our drills. I can actually illustrate it better in a drill I'm gonna show you in a minute, but we'll kind of, the base of all our drills is, all right, let's start doing the drill fundamentally right. Then let's add an accuracy, okay, an accuracy component to it. Then let's add a decision-making component to it as well. And so I think that's always kind of your tiers as your guys get comfortable with one, then a way for you to continue to challenge your players, make it competitive, and keep their interest. So you see here, simulating just something right through the A-gap. Again, finish the throw is the whole deal here. If I see these guys stay back on that back foot don't see a follow through. Those are the key points that we're talking through here. Again, not a decision-making deal here. All I'm talking through here is complete fundamentals of drive through the throw, okay? Biggest deals that we see, as we all know in situations like this, okay, is it's coming right through the middle, okay? I don't finish the throw, and that ball goes straight up there. And we know when the ball goes up there, it's not good. Okay, so you see some of these here in the front. Just cycling through here, get through my line. Okay, and then we'll start working, let's see here. I must have been talking a lot this day. Okay, here we go. So then we'll start working coming from that back side, okay? And now I'm going to get a little more aggressive with the dummy, really more than anything because you can, all right? So now I want them to simulate, and what we're simulating is we get it beat off the backside. We don't feel this thing coming. I'm getting ready to deliver the throw, and a lot of times there's not many throughout a game that a quarterback can't see, okay? Every now and then they get the one that just blind, the guy doesn't see, but most of the time what I've found and what I believe is quarterbacks, as they're delivering the ball, can feel that thing coming. They know right there at that point it's about to happen. And so for them, what is your body trained to do at that point? Okay, are you trained to flinch? Are you trained to fall off of it? Or are you trained to continue to drive through it? And that's kind of what we're simulating here, and what we're constantly talking about is I'm taking that hit from the backside that I feel right here at the end. How am I finishing the play? Or maybe my offensive lineman is getting driven back into me, but I've already committed to make the throw. I've already made the decision, okay, what is my finish going to be like? All right, and so that's all we're talking about here is I'm giving them these guys just a little shot, okay? I'm trying to keep them balanced throughout as much as possible, and most importantly, I want to see that throw finished. And in the meantime, I think you're building confidence with these guys. You're building confidence that I can go in there in that live team session or that game session, I can take those hits, and I can still make throws without it affecting me. So you see, I'm trying just to get the dummy in every kind of uncomfortable place that I possibly can. I'll get it down there around their legs. I'll get it in the back. Okay, we'll go right in the front. I mean, it's got to be everywhere because there's going to be people all over the place all the time with these guys, and they got to get used to it. I really think, too, I think this is an incredibly valuable drill, too, for, the people that believe very heavily in RPOs. Because, as we all know, the one bad thing about RPOs is they're terrible protections. I mean, if they were great protections, nobody would pass protect. All right, so RPOs are, to me, quarterbacks take some of their biggest shots off of RPOs. You get more janky things on protections, and so I think it's valuable no matter what. But this has been one that throughout the years, when I've gone back and talked to my quarterbacks after they've left our program and kind of debriefed them a little bit, or hey, what'd you like? This and that. Our quarterbacks have actually, even maybe more than I would have believed, thought they've gotten more out of this drill than maybe I would have guessed, of just kind of that, just being able to take some of those hits and just being able to just kind of feel that uncomfortable feeling a little bit to gain confidence, and I think it's helped some of our guys quite a bit. The best drill, without a doubt, that we do with our guys, and the one we do the most, is this med ball drill. So what the med ball drill does is basically kind of takes the first two drills that I showed you. It's going to add a competitive, fast, live aspect to it, and it's a hell of a drill. I think it's the best one we do with our quarterbacks, period. So again, another couple key coaching points. Again, most importantly, I would say here would be number 2 and number 5 there, helping the quarterback's eyes, again, stay downfield when there's some type of pressure happening, something uncomfortable is happening. This is the best drill that I've been able to use, or I think the one that's had the best results to work that. And then I think, a lot of times we get that guy, maybe it's that athletic kid in our program, like, man, he's a hell of a quarterback, but he always wants to run, and sometimes that's a good thing, I get it, but we always get that guy's, man, how do I teach this cat to stay in the pocket more? Like, how do I teach him to just hang in there for that last read when that big one's coming? this one may be able to help you a little bit. Ball security is absolutely this is a great one to coach ball security with in the pocket, and then certainly simulating the live bullets. So here's a diagram of how this thing works. So you're gonna need a snapper. You're gonna need 2 coaches with a medicine ball on the side. And then to start off, this would be the part of the drill with training wheels. We just have 1 receiver out there, okay? So how this works for us is to start off again with just 1 receiver out there. We're just simply going to be working movements. And a couple of keys as you're setting up this drill. Obviously, you can see we got 2 medicine balls, and they're going to simulate defenders, okay? A couple of keys on this. You have to, just from doing it a bunch and screwing it up a bunch, you have to have the 2 people, all right, on the same page. You got to have somebody on the other side that you're in a little bit of a rhythm with, because you don't want to, the drill can become kind of messy if those 2 guys aren't in sync about like who's throwing the medicine ball first. Is it outside, is it inside, is it low, is it high, is it separating a wide rush, is it simulating an inside rush, what is it? So you can see how we're working here. So I've given the quarterback just simply here a drop that I want him to work. And so this is how this one goes. He's going to snap the ball here, okay, get into his drop, okay, and then what we're telling him here is I'm just simply giving him a ball command, okay, so I am controlling when I want the ball thrown. Now, here's the key coaching point on this. Because this is where you get a lot of flexibility as a coach to make this drill whatever you want it to be. He throws the ball when I say ball. Now, that may happen like this instance where we've simulated, okay, rushes on the edges where he's got to step up and he's found a good spot in the pocket and can set his feet and make the throw. Fantastic. It also could happen, okay, right now, where that ball's coming at me, but I've made the decision, hey, he's open. It's time. Ball's got to get out right now. Now I got to take the hit. Now it becomes a little bit of that John Wayne deal. Am I going to flinch when I'm getting ready to take this thing right now? Or am I going to finish the throw? All right, so they have got to trust, okay, taking it right now. Sometimes you put them in that predicament, and if you'll think about it, it's the same predicament these guys get in the game, and you can't simulate this in 7-on-7, okay, okay, I'm getting ready to get hit, but I know that guy's open. Do I throw it and take the hit, or do I have enough time? Do I need to reset and then maybe take it or move on in my read or whatever? A lot of quarterbacks get in that predicament, and what do? Do they take it or do they not? This simulates that. This puts them in that position where, do I got time to get this thing off before this medicine ball gets here, or do I need to, hey, I got to get to the point where I can make the throw first, so I need to move, I need to shuffle, I need to flush out, whatever it is. So you can do a lot of different things with this drill, and the initial part of this of controlling the throw by our cadence gives you an opportunity to be really flexible. So let's look at a couple of clips here. Okay, so we'll talk just kind of how we would coach these guys here a little bit. What we're looking for here as these guys move are a couple things. And here's what will happen right off the top. Okay, these medicine balls don't have legs, all right? And so you're going to throw that ball to one of your cats right off the top, and the first thing it's going to be coming at him right here. First thing he's going to do is this right here. Okay, it don't work like that in real ball. So first thing I tell them is they're not allowed, and I don't want guys moving from the waist up. That's no good. That does not work very often. I do not want guys moving from the waist up. I don't want that rush. Same thing, I don't want that ball coming through here, right at the front part of my chest, and me just simply doing this to avoid the ball, because in real life, that's a human being with two legs that it's about to put me on the ground. Okay, so I talk to them, the first thing that's got to move is those two things right there. Those feet have got to be not here, not here, certainly not here, and we'll talk obviously the ball security here in a second, but the first two things that move when it's time to move are my feet. Second thing is, if there's not a reason to move, don't move. What'll happen is you'll start firing these things, And these guys will start doing what? They'll start just moving, anticipating, well, I'm just about to get hit. Well, how's that like a young quarterback in a game? Guy gets a little antsy. We go back on Saturday after watching the Friday night game, and the pocket was pretty good. My man was just all over the place. He was antsy. He was this and that. This creates that. 7-on-7 has no chance of creating this, okay? So you get a lot of really, really good things to coach off of. So we'd say this wouldn't be good here. So first thing we're seeing here, the first thing that moves is shoulder, okay, and upper body other than the feet, okay? So I'm gonna be sacked there, number one. Second, never separate the ball. I like that he kept two hands on it, but no reason at all to separate the ball. But the reason the ball did that is because the body did this. If the feet are moving, this is nice and easy. The other thing, when you move upper body first, you obviously get out of throwing position as opposed to just moving right here. You move your entire body, you don't get sacked, and you are in position to make a good fundamental throw. Okay. Pretty good here, because I like that there's limited movement. Only moving how much he absolutely has to, okay? And this was a good one to compare to the last one, because here the ball comes right here at the top, right? Coming right here. This defender's coming right here at his front shoulder, and watch the feet move first. Watch his left foot right there. Right there. Now the whole body's moved. I've kept great pocket presence, and now I'm in position to deliver a nice, easy textbook throw. Okay? So, all right, now let's go to kind of step two of this thing. All right, so I would, and this, I'll preface it by this. This is one to me, because that even the first part of this one is hard, especially for a younger guy or a guy that has not done this before. And you can really ramp it up, again, by the speed of the medicine balls coming at him, simulating all the different rushes, all of that. I would really get a guy comfortable with step one of this before you move on to this one. I think it could get a little ugly. Has in my experience. So step two, what we're going to do now is we're going to create some type of decision for the quarterback here. Okay, and to start, I just make it purely a two-man decision. So we've got two receivers, we got one read key. Okay, and now what we're doing is we are taking the command to throw out of the coach's hands, and we're putting it in that defender's hands. Okay, so he's watching his read key. When his read key gives him a read, then that is going to be, okay, it's time in my mind to make the decision. So we've taken step one, okay, and now we've made this one a little bit more game-like. Okay, where now he's doing it based off of a defender, not something he hears, but something he actually sees on the field. And this is, we do this with all kinds of reads you can, whether it's flat curl, whether it's two seams and you're working a middle safety. That's what I'll show you right here. We'll do it on stick route where you've got your stick and your flat. I mean, any kind of two receiver combination that you have. And even if it's out of a trips or whatever, and you just want to work, this part of it or that part of it, anything goes here. So you can tailor it certainly, to what you guys do in your systems as far as the throw game. So the back in the gray, obviously here is the coach, okay? And again, you got to kind of have these things in sync. And you see what I'm trying to do here in the front here is trying to move around a little bit. And so he can't just sit there and say, well, he's standing right in the A-gap. I know the medicine ball's coming right in the A-gap. So I try to move around and give him different looks. So we're trying to get out here on the edge here. Again, this is a nice step up. Again, the first thing you see with this cat right here that's pretty damn good is the first thing that moves are those feet. He's not trying to avoid the medicine ball with his upper body. The first thing that moves are the feet. And he stays in good throwing position, okay? As soon as that read key breaks, okay, then he is doing everything he can to make this throw. Now, here's where you'll really feel, again, if they're cheating this drill, is, I tell them, I want to create that live situation, okay? I want it to feel like a game. So as soon as that read key goes, The second he can get to a spot to make that throw, he's got to do it. And again, this is one that may happen. At times, we'll have the read key go first, where it's time to throw it, and then throw the medicine balls at him and put him kind of in that conflict where which one do I do? And the most important thing to me in those is teaching them to be decisive and not be hesitant. And so, again, you can tailor this thing so many different ways to fit your guys and to cover a lot of different needs. Great look right here for it. Okay, so what he's seeing right here, no need to move. Rush stayed in front of me. I'm in a good spot. I get him to move. I deliver the throw. I would have graded him here. For a young guy, I'd have said pretty good. If this was one of my older cats, I would have said this ball's still gone, a count late. I mean, I've got no movement right here. My read key's gone, and to me, there is just a half second there of hesitation that I'm not real fired up about. Now, if that's my young guy that's been doing it for 2 weeks, now I'm still telling the same thing, but deep down saying, all right, we can work with that. We can work with that. It's not awful. The thing I do love here is he's not moving just to move. He's not antsy. He's only move when you have to move. Don't think you got to move every single time. That's not what this drill's about. It's about being able to make that decision and have that feel. The other thing, obviously for a coach being down there at ground level, and one thing that I normally kind of really tell my guy here that's snapping to watch, because sometimes as a coach, you're throwing the medicine ball, you're kind of watching the rest of it, is really to watch his eyes. Are those eyes on those medicine balls? Are those eyes down the field on my read key, or what's happening? All right, are they watching the rush? Are they trusting their movement, trusting their protection, and eyes down the field to see what's happening? Pretty good here. Pretty good. Got to move 2 different ways here, okay? Skylar's having to move left here, back to the right, okay? He knows at that point the read key's gone. This is one of those, this is that conflict right here. It's a great clip to look at. It's a great one to show you guys. Okay, right there, read key's gone. Can I beat this or not? Is this medicine ball going to sack me? Or do I have time to get this gone? The thing I love here, you could argue maybe either one here. And I know sitting here, I could pause it and this and that. The thing I love is he was decisive about it. There was no doubt. He did not feel like it, but he was already starting his movement and then set up. I think it's pretty damn good. I mean, that's that kind of conflict you want to try to put those guys in as much as you can. And I think it makes it real. I just think there's, for me, that's one of my favorite parts about it. Okay, here's a good kind of coach's eye look at it. Notice all my guys do it with helmets on. I had one smart ass one time that thought he didn't need to do it with the helmet on. And they all wear helmets now, so yeah. So good for us to take out some of our frustrations every now and then as well, right? All this about all the player rights and all that. We get some damn rights too, I think, still. All right, so pretty good stuff though. Any questions on that? Any questions? I'm gonna. That's about as good as we got. Oh yeah, let me talk about the progression stuff real quick. So last part of it here is the true full progression. Okay. So now, instead of one defender and a read key, we're going to put our receivers in a progression. And again, you can do this with any progression that you have. And the way we've done this, I've experimented with this a little bit of maybe putting like 2 or 3 defenders out there and trying to give them a look. It eventually just becomes a deal of like, how many guys do you need to run one damn quarterback drill? It's kind of been my biggest issue. It's okay. It takes a lot of synchronization. What we've normally gone back to when we do this is just back to the quarterback command, where I'm just telling them the command. So basically how this one would play out, and we just drew it up off of our Y cross, is what you're seeing here. So in the middle here would be the Y crosser, okay, would be the curl on the backside and the flat. So you're just seeing those 3 here. But basically how this one would work, very similar to the first one. You see we're working off of a play action. Is I'm going to give him the command of X, H, F, Y, or Z, And when I do that, that doubles as A, obviously where to throw, and B, I want the ball thrown as soon as you possibly can at that time. So it adds in, being able to teach your progressions a little bit. The one I do like about this is it does kind of force them, similar to the very first drill that I showed you, it forces them to do all the, I think, really good, coaching points that we've talked about on this drill before. And then all of a sudden, I've got to get to my feet to a spot to where I don't know where I'm throwing. Like all right, I've got these live bullets coming at me. Maybe I've had to move, maybe I haven't. And then all of a sudden, not only do I got to make a decision on where I'm going, but I got to get my feet in position to make that throw. When you just got the two guys out there, the one thing for the quarterback, he knows, well, I'm either throwing this or this. I mean, he's got it narrowed down. When you got 5 cats out there in a progression, you add that element that I think has also been very beneficial. Okay, so just a couple quick looks at this. Another one we wouldn't like here. Again, watch the upper body. After he steps up after the first one, watch the upper body. This will be the coaching point here. The next thing was that upper body trying to move. Had both feet in the air at the same time as I hopped up. A couple of small coaching points there that make that ball get out a little bit slower than it needs to, okay? So any questions on those drills? Anything before we move on into a couple of routes here? Sure, please. We teach them to play through. We create kind of a game with it at times with our guys once they get good where like they've got to, we have a little scoring system on it and make it competitive. So like, have your 2 quarterbacks on one team, 2 on the other, loser carries their pads in or whatever. And, but, they lose points for getting hit. They lose points for bad ball security, lose points for the wrong decision, whatever it is. So you can kind of almost make it a game and make it competitive. But I don't know. I definitely, if they get hit, we certainly don't stop. Because a lot of times you may get hit and the guy may not get you to the ground. So, I certainly still want to coach that. Yeah, great question. Any other questions on that? I hope that's helpful. I really do think it's one that's made a big difference for our cats. So. Okay, I would talk about our mesh play, and we've done a lot with this over the years. I mean, this is one of the few things that when we all learned this offense a long time ago that was a constant, and we've added a few new things off of it that we have been beneficial to us at a couple of the stops, and we'll show you some of the shots here at Oklahoma. But to start on the scheme, game planning, we'll talk about this route, kind of how we use it. I'm a big believer that, as you go back and look at your game plans, because I'm really big on, all right, we create our game plan, we like it, we narrow down our plays, how many plays you got, this or that. One thing I normally do about mid-week is I look back and say, all right, how many calls we got on this thing? Well, we got to call the right thing at the right time. And depending on how smart you think you are, or how smart you think your quarterback is, or how much you think you can, be right, I think that number gets too high, it gets tough. I mean, you're going to have those games where you call them all right and you hit them at the right time and catch them in the right coverages or right blitzes, this or that. And then you're going to have those games when you don't, where they adjust or they do something different that you didn't see. And then all of a sudden, all that stuff you worked and counted on, this and that, where you standing at the end of the day. And so we've tried to, develop our game, and not just our throw game, but really every part of it, to have calls that you are confident calling no matter what they're in. And I can't, for me as a play caller, and I know everybody as play callers, everybody sees it differently, everybody does it differently. Those calls for me in a game are, you say your security blanket, whatever, but I mean, those to me are, I want to feel like that 80% at the minimum of the calls on my call sheet, I'm good with calling no matter what the hell they're in. Because to me, anything over than that, if they change, I put it back on their terms. If they change, if they do something different, if we call it at the wrong time, this or that, so much has got to go right for that one play to work. And I'm not saying you're not going to have a couple of them, your shots or play you think really hits good against their defense, or you got a chance for an explosive play, whatever. But I think at the end of the day, you're going to play consistent offense. You're going to win championships based on the plays that your guys can go run against anything. And then for me as a play caller, it takes a lot of pressure off. You think it's situations, all the different things that come up, how fast the game's moving right now. It's impossible to do that and dial up the perfect one every single time. I'm damn sure not smart enough to do it. But I just think having calls like that you like everywhere are huge, man. And I think a lot of times, I know I'm guilty of it. I probably go into games and don't have enough of them. I try, but I think if we all went back and probably took a couple more that, things we can run against everything and took out maybe some of those specialty ones that make us feel good, or we come up with this or this and that. But at the end of the year, how often those things really come to fruition? How often they really work. How often do you draw up that perch when you felt great about all week? You're like, man, this thing's money. And they come out something different. You just wasted all that damn time all week, and it didn't even work. And so I know there's some give and take, but this has always been one for me that I felt like could call at any time. So this is just our mesh play. I'm just going to show one shot of it here, and then I'm going to talk about kind of our progression of it, and then I'll show you a lot of different examples of how we've run it, some new things we did this year that were really, really good to us. So for us, you see down here at the bottom, you see a 6-step out. We've always got some type of intermediate route for us that's going to be the first read for the quarterback on this. So at the very bottom of the screen, that 6-step out is the quarterback's first progression. The mesh for us is always the second read. So you see a zone coverage shot. You're going to see a receiver settling, turning, getting straight upfield after the catch. And then there's always going to be for us, almost always going to be some type of down the field answer for that. If we run mesh 100 times all year, there's going to be probably 2 out of the 100 that it's not open. It's that hard to cover. But when it is crowded, we're going to have something down the field as a third option to get to, which in this case is this dig by the number 2 receiver here in trips. Back here is just flat control. All right, so we see a quick example of this thing. Now, how we coach this, okay, is a couple of ways. We coach it with our settle and noose drill, and I'm not going to spend all day on this. We talk drills a little bit, but really, really work hard in zone coverage, and this is a low-tempo drill for us. We really work hard in zone coverage of receivers learning to sit in zones, quarterbacks learning to put the ball on the shoulder away from coverage, and receivers gaining the trust and having the trust that wherever that quarterback puts that ball is where you need to turn and get upfield immediately, which is paramount if you're going to be great at the mesh, okay? We drill it through our routes on air. This is a drill we do every single day where we have either 5 or 6 quarterbacks in the progression. You see that same route that you just saw in the team period happening right here. So you got 5 QBs, 1 assigned to each route. Coaches out there giving different looks, especially on the mesh. Everybody getting through the progression. Okay, so in a way to create a lot of different throws. Again, I'm not going to sit here and talk about a million drills, but these are ways that we drill this play, because I think you can come up with great plays, but you got to have a plan to practice them, and you got to have a plan to make them all work. And this is what we believe in with this play. So you see a couple shots of our routes on air period, how it works. This is one of the plays for us that we believe, as you do this in routes on air, because it is a true progression, okay, that you need to have, that these throws should be coming out in the sequence, okay, of the reads. So if you just think in your mind right here, the first read for us, because we teach this from the quarterback perspective as purely progression, okay? It's not based off if this defender does this, if that defender does this. It has nothing to do with that. They've got to be aware, obviously, but it is truly progression. So the first throw that should get out, okay, is that out ball up top, and you see that happening. So that's nicely done. Quarterback's throwing it right off, a quick 3, throwing it right off the 3rd step. The second throws that should come out should be the mesh, okay? You see those are starting to get out right now. Man coverage at times causes us to hang on to them just a little bit longer. And then the last throws that should be out should be that dig and then the wheel route with the tailback. I'll tell you this another, I think, just great point, of continuing. You see our guys, why is a guy the number 1 pick in the draft? You look down there at the far left of the line. always challenge himself on the throws. How many times, how hard is it to sit there from the pocket and throw a nice, easy wheel route? We can do that all summer. We can do that all off season. We can do that all the damn time. Challenge yourself. Smart enough to realize if I get back to that wheel, I'm probably having to move in the pocket, simulating a rush, stepping up and making that throw with some type of pressure and challenging yourselves on the throws, making them game-like. And this drill gives you a chance to do it, and great players do it all the time. Okay? All right, so let's talk about this. Let's talk about kind of the bones of this play, how we teach it, how we coach it, and we'll go from there. So you see this out of a tight end trip set for us. So same concept that we saw earlier. So this is a pure 5-step progression for us. Okay, back for us here is in the protection. So you can see just a quick hesitation with the running back before he gets out into his route. So he is responsible, based on the protection call, responsible for some combination of the linebackers, and then gets out into the route. Okay. The first route for us, okay, and I'm going to show you because I think as you're going to watch this route, half of you in the room are going to be saying, well, shit, my quarterback can't make this throw. This is a left hash, 6-step out, and this thing, it's a long throw. Well, I'm going to show you some different examples and things that we've used of throws that everybody's quarterback can make. And I think the key point that I want you to take from this is you can implement whatever your guy likes to throw the most as your primary route on this, and you get a chance to maybe throw that route one-on-one, maybe a little bit more, and then still feel good about it. So our guys, our guy here like to throw this out route a lot. So for us, this is a 6-step out route. The only thing that we convert this against is any cover 2. If we get a cover 2, and I'll show you a shot of that here in a second, it's going to become an inside release high corner route. We speed cut this route. I think squaring these things off, especially to the field, is tough, and we're just a big believer in speed cutting first progression routes. We're not a big square off team. I don't like receivers losing momentum on routes. And if you're going to square routes off, unless your guys just can't run anyways, then they're going to keep the same momentum, all right? But they are going to lose momentum if you square it off, period. And it's going to be slower, and the quarterback's got to hang on to the ball longer. I know at times they can come out at different spots, but to me, the speed of it is not worth compromising, in my opinion. Not saying I'm right, just letting you know what we believe. So what he's looking at here to start is he is asking himself, A, do I have one-on-one with that corner route, with that out route? If I do, then it's simply, do I like the one-on-one look for it? So really, obviously here, there's really one player, this flat defender over the number 2 receiver that could take this away. That's the only guy that could do this. So as soon as he attaches to that inside release dig route, he knows he's one-on-one and ball needs to be gone. Now, the beautiful thing about this play for us, and now you'll see a bunch of different variations here in a minute. For us, the mesh is always the second read. No matter what we call it out of, what formation, what routes are there, the mesh is always second. And the thing I always harp on these guys with, if you don't throw the first read, whatever it is, the out route in this case, if you don't throw it on time, go to the mesh. Because of what I just said earlier, you'll run this thing 100 times through the year, and 98 times you're going to be able to throw the mesh. I promise you, if you run it right. No doubt about it, okay? But guys that hang on too long to the first one, okay, and then it's not open and get to the mesh late, that's when you get in trouble. So he's seeing a one-on-one. He's taking it right now. He's decisive. He makes the throw. All good, okay? Coaching the mesh right here. We teach our guys man and zone. We don't, but there's got to be a feel to it. And especially out of these trips coverages or any single receiver routes, because we know you may see some combination like we're seeing here, where one guy, it looks like it's in man coverage. The other one, obviously, we've got a bust here on that. We caught him in a pressure where they were locked up on the backside. We got a pretty good call because that backside mesh guy's going to give me money. So you may end up with one runner here, which you should. Great job by the X running through. Okay, and then our Y coming over the top for coaching the mesh, which is a Anybody that's ever coached it, it's one of those things, man. You don't work it for a week, it goes to hell. I mean, it is a maintenance deal, but it'll pay. It pays dividends, okay? We coach the receiver from the right always being over the top. And we just make it that simple for our guys. He is responsible for the depth of the mesh. I know people got different views of it. We coach it a little bit differently when it's an off-the-ball tight end like this as opposed to an on-the-ball, because to me the timing of this is way more important than does he get to 5 yards, does he get to 4 yards, who cares? They need to be coming open at the right time. They need to be coming open just as that first read is closing out, whether it's at 3 yards or whether it's at 6. To me, that all depends on, how you're structuring this whole thing. So he's over the top. Underneath receiver is solely responsible, okay, for making the mesh tight, which simply means those guys running close together. And we go with the juvenile way. We go with the Pee-wee football. We make them slap hands. You watch our guys in the Big 12 championship college football play, they're running through their slapping hands. We make them do it. And I'm glad we do. We didn't do it at one of the stops. We started doing it when we got to Oklahoma, and to teach them, and we just never stopped, and we never will stop. I think it helps, and it just kind of constantly reminds them. The other thing it enforces is it gives them some ground rules. They can settle at any point, but after they have crossed. You cannot settle before you cross. After that, you have full freedom to settle. Okay, so until those hands have been slapped, nobody's settling. Again, they might be open. If the guy settled early, he might be open, but he's going to be open too early. And the quarterback's not going to be looking there, and it's going to close up. So again, getting guys open to me is not that hard. Getting them open in sync where the quarterback is going through a progression and they're coming open at the opportune times, that's what it's all about, okay? And then that dig route for us, we've liked this. It's given us kind of a high-low with the mesh. We haven't thrown it a ton. It's given us some vertical presence on it. It's given us a chance when we have had a crowded mesh to be able to go over the top and take it, okay? But certainly, we throw the primary and then the mesh, far and away more than anything, okay? All right, so we talked about, this is just coming from the other direction here, so we talked about the cover 2 shot. So watch the X up top. It's just an adjustment for us. Every other part of the route is going to be the same here. Okay, so you're just seeing the cover 2 adjustment, throwing the high corner. Let's talk about this here. So off of that corner route here, everybody's loving to throw the back shoulders, okay, and we do too. They're a great thing to throw. So here we have tagged this play, basically in our terms, mesh with the back shoulder, okay? So he's going to start with the now back shoulder down here at the bottom. A lot easier throw for most guys, especially younger quarterbacks, when you're talking about throwing it to the field, okay? And then you see out of a 2x2 tight end set, these same routes happening. You're still seeing a mesh. We did bring them under here. We did bring the right side under here. This was a little bit different. We were trying to create a pick here. We don't do this often. We were trying to create that pick up top, but we are 95% of the time we're going to bring the Y over. So you see, obviously just ends up taking the back shoulder throw. We're getting, obviously heavy man looks. This was, I had this clip on there too, because this is actually one of the examples. Let's say he doesn't like the back shoulder, which if he doesn't, he needs to have his head examined. But if he doesn't like the back shoulder here, okay, and he gets to the mesh, I got a pretty crowded mesh here. I got locked on man with 2 free players. All right, this is one of those times where you would get maybe to the dig or to the wheel, and obviously you see we got really favorable matchups there. The dig's getting ready to be huge, all right? We do square off this dig because once again, that route's not about speed. This is not the primary route. We intentionally want to slow him down. I got to go through a primary, I got to look at the mesh, see it squeeze down, and then throw the dig. So that dig, if we speed cut, it gets open way too quick. So we square cut that to slow him down. And we normally run it with a slower guy, and that helps even more, okay? It's a great look at it here. So we're grading this. It's obviously terrible. It's terrible by the mesh, almost embarrassing. Not almost, it is. Embarrassing by the mesh, a great execution on the back shoulder and a really nice route on the dig. Get this all the time. All right, I got a team that's going to play a bunch of man and you know, maybe our receivers, we got a couple guys that are good, but we need to maybe help get some separation. What are a couple of quick, easy ways to help me create that, maybe put them in some tough scenarios. This has certainly been one of our favorites. And then this is also for everybody in here that was watching those first out throws saying my quarterback can't make that out throw from the far hash with that big split with the receiver. This is also another way to shorten that throw. All right, so we've got just a little short buzz motion that we call this, okay, with the X receiver, okay? But nothing for us is going to change here. I think we put every clip on here. It made me liars. I think we put every clip on here that we've ever brought the right side receiver under. All right, so what we're doing here is a couple of things. One, we're giving the quarterback initially a great man zone look. I mean, and we're not just coaching our quarterback on this, because we're always trying to give our receivers on this, you know, any indicator that they can have, any clue we can give them, is it man or is it zone? Because some of these things are tough. Some of them it's hard to decide. And so we are also coaching every receiver on the field here. When this play is called and that short motion happens, this is what you are looking for. You are going to have a great idea if it's man or zone. So it ain't just about the quarterback knowing here, especially those mesh receivers. But even the guy running the dig is going to have a pretty good idea how I'm going to have to run this man dig route, okay? So I think anytime you get an indicator, don't always think it's just going to be for the quarterback. So we see the switch happen, okay? So we know, obviously, we're getting some type of man coverage, getting a little bracket here, but a great job. Okay, we've created a pretty nice leverage here on that out route, and you see the routes are the exact same, and now it's just coming from number 2 in the slot that we've created by the motion. So we've made it an easier throw. Okay, if we're playing a team that's really talented, man coverage wants to get in our face, bump us, do all that stuff, we've made it very, very tough. We're making them defensively have to communicate no matter if they're man or zone. We've given quarterback and every receiver on the field a great man zone indicator. But for us, the beautiful thing for us is, and one of the reasons I love this play, is defense is going to go script this thing. They're going to have to be talking about this motion, this, and this, and this. For us, and when we're coaching the quarterback, other than getting a man zone indicator and the fact that the throw's a little bit easier because it's from not so far out, it's the same thing. We've taken something that's really, really easy for us to just go out and do, that is a play we've worked 1,000 ways, whether we had the motion on it or not, and now for a defense, it becomes a totally different deal. You get teams into bunch rules, stack rules, how do they do all this? You make this a lot tougher on them with a simple movement like this on one of your base plays, but you make it simple and easy for your kids. Our quarterbacks say, I'm going to give you a great look. The throw's going to be a little bit different. Other than that, the reads never change. Okay, it's your intermediate throw to your mesh, all right, and then you've got your down the field progressions. Another great look at it. So I'm, again, just going to show you a lot of different looks of this and how we've done it. So another great look. We got it out of 2x2 here, and we see, obviously, we're playing a team here that's up in our face, okay, hands on us, trying to disrupt routes, going to try to bring pressure and disrupt those routes, throw timing off, okay? And again, you know, I think we sometimes can get caught when we play a team like this. It's just going to come get in our face of just throwing vertical. Now, believe me, I love throwing verticals, and you got to do it. But I think you got to have some variety, and showing these guys a few different things certainly helps. So you see that same motion. The same out route with your mesh working. Okay, we have this as double outs. It's always been one of the quarterback's favorites. I don't know what you guys as guys are. You know, my guys have always loved the mirrored where they get the choice on the primary. So one thing you lose on it, obviously, is you lose kind of that third read on this. You're kind of banking on getting the first two. Now in this one, That's honestly a pretty safe bet because that's who we throw the most often. But he's simply got a choice here of which out route he wants to start with, the motion or up top. He makes that decision. But no matter what, you can always go back to the bank with this, the mesh is the second read. No matter what we do, the mesh is the second read. Okay, so obviously gets the rub. We're able to create, great leverage on the motion. Not a big fan of the mesh. I think we could have been a little bit better picking that off. Okay, and then this is where this thing can get really good. And this is, to me, the versatility of this play. So, all right, throwing you out, you've done this or that. Let's talk double moves a little bit, okay? Everybody loves double moves, right? Double moves are great. We at the end of the year, we go back and watch our cut-ups, and we all say, man, we should have thrown more double moves. We should have done it more. They were good, or this or that. The biggest problem with double moves, why don't we throw them more? Why don't we call them more? Is time. And then we as coaches, I don't know, I think you guys will feel this way. We feel like when we're calling a double move, like we're taking a shot. Like we're taking a shot and it's feast or famine. Like we hit the big one or we get sacked, or we hit the big one or it's not there and we just burned the whole play. So like for us, kind of deep down in our gut when we want to call them, it's like, man, I'm taking a risk. Like to me, calling a double move shouldn't feel like calling a flea flicker. Calling a double move is not calling a double reverse pass or any of that crap. Calling a double move is just another route. And so when you call it off the mesh, the way that you can present it to your quarterbacks, because you see some of those beautiful plays on double moves when you get the guy wide open, and then you see, to me, some of the dumbest decisions you'll ever see quarterbacks make on double moves because they're so juiced to cut that thing loose. They've already decided before the even play started, that's where they're going with it no matter what, whether it's wide open or whether they got three defenders around them. So this is, to me, a great way to coach the double move within a scheme. And the beautiful thing is you coach it exactly like you coach the rest of the mesh. So now, just example here, up top, instead of the out, we've called the double move. We've called the out and up, okay? So when I would go coach my quarterbacks on this, okay, a couple of things. One, if the pre-snap look is not good for it, then we're just going to be on it for a split second, just so we're not to the mesh too quickly, just to keep the integrity of the reads. If the pre-snap look is good, meaning we feel like it is one-on-one, okay, nobody else is involved, then we're going to truly read this thing. But we coach it the exact same way as we do just throwing that out ball. If it looks good and you're going to take it, rhythm, all this and that, great. Do it. It better be one-on-one and it better look good. Why? Because the mesh is always open. And so we coach it just like we do the back shoulder or that high out ball or the low out ball that you've seen or whatever route that you want to put out there. And then for me, it gives me a call that really not much different than the mesh, where I'm sitting there feeling like he's going to throw the double move or we're going to pop it right down to the mesh and we're going to get 5 yards and the double move wasn't there, and that's okay. But we showed it to them and we all know there's value in that, even at times when we don't throw these routes. So I think it's just the psyche of, one, us as play callers, and then two, the quarterbacks not feeling like, well, every time I call a double move, you got to throw it. Or every time we call a double move, it's all or nothing. It ain't all or nothing. It's not all or nothing at all. This is just another play, and it's the same progression that you've been repping time after time after time, whether we had the double move called or not. And so this has been a great thing for us. We've been one of our favorite ways to call double moves, and it's probably been one I've been more aggressive about calling just because I don't feel like I'm taking some big risk. I don't feel like it's going to be a great play or an awful play. I feel like we're either going to hit the double move for a big shot or we're going to complete the mesh for 7 yards, and it's going to be 2nd and 3, and that's okay. I can live with 2nd and 3. That's not bad. Okay, so a great way to get to it, coached exactly the same way as the mesh. And I think that's the key. I think that the key is the quarterback psyche on it. I mean, I think if you can get them to truly believe and buy into that, then you're in business. Yeah, a couple good mesh shots here. So you see us even calling this, we'll call this anywhere, any hash to the field, to the boundary. That's another reason I love this play is not only do I like it against any defense that you can draw up, okay, I also like it anywhere on the field. There is not a place on the field that we will not call this play. It don't matter what hash it's on. I don't care if it's on the -1. I don't care if it's on the +1. This was a 4th down shot here. I don't care when, where, anything like that. And to have those plays that you and your quarterback have that confidence in, to me, when you get in these big games like this, that's tough to replace. So you see some good stuff happening here. Another great coaching point here with this tight end. We don't want him open too early. So we also talked about the not speed cutting him, okay, squaring him off because you don't want that later read open too early. The other thing it allows you to do is take a wide stem like this and create a little natural rub for the mesh runner. So it becomes 2 picks now that this defender over the number 2 receiver's got to run through. Beautiful mesh there by the guys. You see him slapping hands. Beautiful mesh. We've already had 1 pick. There's a 2nd pick. And we're in business, okay, ball in the upfield shoulder. I think another big deal to talk about on this mesh for your guys, if you're going to give them this option, which I think to do this play well, it's what you got to do, obviously, to be able to settle a run, is decisiveness. And I think decisiveness is something that we got to empower these guys with. We got to really look at ourselves and say, how are we coaching these guys, okay? As we coach our receivers, myself and our 2 receiver coaches, when we coach the mesh, there's kind of like 2 different screw-ups, okay? Screw-up number 1 is, hey, man, it was man, and you should have ran. Or, all right, this was zone, you should have sat in this hole. Okay, you made the wrong decision. We're going to get on your ass about that. But we're not going to blister you, okay? Okay. Mistake number 2, okay, guy runs, starts to settle, acts like he's settling, kind of moves around all over the place. Or guy's running and then starts to slow down and can't decide if he's going to settle or run. Indecisiveness. Indecisiveness, we're coming after you. Indecisiveness, we're coming. Indecisiveness kills this play. Because what indecisiveness does is it makes the quarterback unsure, and then we get well, I thought he was going to do this, and he did this, and then we get up with an interception or whatever bad stuff happens. For the quarterback, he can see what you're going to do. As long as he's looking at his intermediate first, he will have already seen what you're doing, and you're at least going to be on the same page, even if you're wrong. And being on the same page, we tell our guys all the time, being decisive, being on the same page is more important than being right. It is way more important than being right because you can still make it work. We can still complete the ball, even though it was zone and he settled right next to the defender. We could still complete it for 5 or worse, end up with an incomplete pass, whatever. We can't live with the other ones. And so that's how we try to empower our guys to be confident in the decisions they make. Let's coach them up so a higher percentage of them, that percentage grows and we become right more often. But indecisiveness, no way. It cannot happen. It absolutely cannot happen. So I don't think you can coach those 2 things the same way without making those guys hesitant. That to me is a killer on this play. A couple other really nice looks here. You know, this is a great example. Like, I get, guys see this clip, or my receivers, they'd be saying the same thing here. All right, thank you. They'd be saying the same thing. All right, so I'm the receiver down here at the bottom. I'm running my mesh route. Okay, we got a decent mesh. Okay, I come off of this. I mean, you could make arguments. Is it man? Is it zone? I can certainly, looking at my side of the field, the single side, I'm going to say it's zone. I look up at the top, and I feel a defender carrying both receivers. I could look at that and say it's man. Which one is it? Which one is it? I don't know. Okay, be decisive. Had he settled right here, fine, I'm good with it. But be decisive. He hauls ass. He is giving the quarterback a clear picture. There's never one point here where he looks like he's settling, not even close. Quarterback knows it. Everybody's on the same page, able to give him a ball in the upfield shoulder. keep momentum because of that decisiveness, not just complete the ball, and now it turns into an explosive play because of that. Really, really well done by the receiver. Could have gone both ways. Decisiveness is key. It's more important than being right. Another good look at the mesh here. Bad by the receiver at the bottom. Should have felt the cloud corner. We should inside release this, ran the high corner. Quarterback sees it immediately, knows he's off of it, onto the mesh. Pretty good example here of trusting where that ball's thrown, drop stepping and getting straight upfield. That's what we talk to our guys all the time, and we all see it. We scream at our guys, get straight upfield, get straight upfield, get straight upfield. But I think it's more than that. I think you got to teach guys. It's no different than a move when you're posting up basketball. The quickest way to gain yards when you're in zone and your back is to the defenders is to drop step. That's where that ball's at. We teach them to drop step and start getting vertical right now. It's not just get upfield, get upfield, get upfield. Yeah, it's a part of that, but specifically, don't waste time or space or yards going here when you can go here. And the fastest way to do that is drop step. And it's a great look here by our tight end. That first, once he catches it, the first step that moves is that left foot up the field. And that's what we're looking for. Really well done. A couple more shots here for you. Yeah, here's a great look here. So look what we got here at the bottom now. So we called that same, very similar, but that same call that we saw that we threw the double move earlier, right? So we got the little out and up, okay? Had a chance to maybe throw it, but with the quarterback is sitting here saying right now, and then this is just how these guys are programmed, and this is how I want them. He's sitting there saying, all right, pre-snap, yeah, it's one-on-one, but a couple factors here. I'm on the 20-yard line. I ain't got a lot of room, number one. Okay, number two, all right, unless that guy is biting right now, he has just been, we've grinded on telling him over and over, it either looks great right now and we take it, or go to the mesh. If you'll do that, I'll call more of these because you guys like me to call them. I'm not calling them if you guys don't prove to me that when it's not there, you won't go down to the mesh. So a lot of guys would say, man, the corner's kind of dividing these guys. Maybe should he stay on it? Yeah, if he would it have worked? Maybe, but I think this is a great illustration of he's sitting there saying, something's a little off. He ain't biting on it. I'm going to the mesh right now. And I think that's the mentality that, I'm not saying we're right, but that's the mentality we're trying to build with our guys so that I could down here call this thing without any fear in the world and know that when that happens, he's going to do that right there. And worst case scenario, we're going to get upfield and go get our 5-6 yards and go on to the next play. And it's just, it's made me call them more, trust our guys more. And I think honestly more than anything, we've had, when they're not there, we've had less bad decisions and still more positive plays when I do call them at the wrong time or the wrong coverage, or we don't get that bite that we thought we were going to get by studying them on tape all week. Okay?
Does it matter to you which guy does the mesh? You know what I'm saying?
It's almost always for us the top guy. The only for us in our offense, it's how we're all thought, we're all brainwashed, but it's almost always the right side for us. The only time that we've changed is occasionally, and why you've seen it some on this tape, when we've had a really fast guy as our right side receiver, occasionally we've made him the under just to get in there. That's kind of how we were built this year. We had the fast receiver, Marquise Brown, that was on the right side primarily for us. And so for him, a lot of times we had a quick adjustment call to bring him under just because he would catch those unders and he may go to the house with them. So we wanted to. I think so, but I think it needs to be, like if you got one guy that runs 4.65, one guy that runs 4.6, in my opinion, I would keep it as consistent as you can. We had a difference maker. We had a dude that if you hit him on a cross route, bam, ain't nobody catching this dude. And so for us, it was worth it. That's the only time in my career I've ever had a guy we've done that with. I'll tell you that. We've always made it right guy over, left guy under, just for rep, simple, make it simple, and guys get to work it over and over. Let's see, I'll show you. This is a good, I know I don't have a ton of great dig shots, but this is a great read to me on the dig. So we obviously see, a couple of things here. that have happened. It's a good job by the quarterback recognizing it. All right, so he's got his one-on-one out route. So he is one-on-one, but obviously we never gotten the corner shoulders flipped at all. Corner's got outside leverage on us. Great job passing up on that. We at this point know it's man coverage. Okay, obviously our receiver coming from the top does not know that it's man coverage. Okay, if he continues to run, he's going to get the ball. Great job by the quarterback seeing that though, realize that that is closed down. Okay, and then there is my dig shot. The other thing you'll see with the dig, a couple of things he could have done better, because when you do it with that inline tight end, he can pace off the ball. You can gain a couple of things. You make it tough for a great edge pass rusher. We can slow him down a little bit. The other thing is you can create, like we saw earlier, that pick. I would have liked to have seen a wider stem by my tight end here, okay, and create that first pick. There's no way my number 2 receiver in trips here should have this nickel in his hip pocket. No way. Not on this play. Because that tight end's job ain't to get open. Okay, his job is to get that pick first and then get open at the correct time. Okay, so, but I do like how he pressed him wide after that. He continued to get his depth. He cannot be short. We tell our guys 15 yards on this, and we stay on their ass about it. It's got to be at 15. If not, they're going to be open too early. And you see, this happens, you know, as far as guys being in sync, this is about how you draw it up. I think last shot here, I know just talked about calling this thing anywhere. One of the ways we really like to do it when we get down kind of in the low red is, instead of obviously throwing that out ball down there, which, you know, can be a little more dangerous, is running the glance off of it. So same call down here. So you're going to see the glance down here at the very bottom. Okay, so you got your glance route that if he's one-on-one, he can take it. And then down to the mesh. What this simply creates, I mean, this one creates a little bit more of a high-low in the beginning down here in these areas. You know, obviously you get some one-on-one shots like you get here. A lot of people, you know, you're seeing the 7 across coverages where people are trying to pass everything off, get you on different levels where it, I simply put it to our guys, if that becomes one-on-one on the back line, we're taking it. If it doesn't, that means one of their defenders is not on that front line, has removed himself, and now we got numbers on the mesh. And so, but again, the beautiful thing for us, it looks a little bit different, but the coaching points on it, and the reads, the progression always stay the same. I mean, everything I've showed you here, back shoulders, outs, high corners, double moves, glances, I mean, showed you a lot of stuff here. All these motions, they're all the same reads. And they look, I mean, if you're a defensive coach and you're sitting there watching that cut up we just watched, you're sitting there saying, man, there's a lot of stuff we got to defend. You're a corners coach, secondary coach watching that, you're saying there's a lot of stuff we got to defend there. I mean, if guys are running or settling, what route's your primary, all that different stuff, your motions. But for your quarterback, he's taking the confidence of, man, every time I rep one of them, I rep all of them. And that's hard to do. It's hard to find stuff like that. And so to me, you know, that's why I've loved this call. Our quarterbacks have loved it throughout the years. We've invested in it, but it's been a great thing for me, and it's always been a security blanket, and one that we've been able to keep the base reads, and a lot of those have stayed the same throughout the years, but we've been able to tailor it to this quarterback might like throwing the glance more, this guy might like throwing the back shoulder more, this guy might like throwing this or this more. Yeah, we can tailor it to it, but it's going to do that, and we can game plan it, adapt it, run it out any formation that we have, and it's still the same for us. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about this play. So, okay, all right. I appreciate you guys having me up. Thanks for listening. Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it.